Someone's always gonna have some negativity to say about me. So all that matters is what I think about it.
The response from Lizzo was so disheartening. Did I, unfortunately, go to the bathroom on myself on stage because I was so terrified? Yes.
She actually balled up her fist like this to me. She started cracking her knuckles, and she was like, "You're so effing lucky that basically I'm not gonna hit you. The facts are the facts."
I shortly left after that. At that point, it wasn't even worth my job.
Lizzo has responded to the backlash, but she's only made everything worse for herself. Her dancers are telling horrific stories about her behavior, while Lizzo claims that they are lying and they just want a payout. So let's get into it. So everybody's talking about Lizzo, as they should be, because what we've learned about her is shocking, and her response to everything doesn't necessarily help the situation. If you guys haven't seen my last video about Lizzo, let me just remind you what she's being accused of. It ranges from sexual harassment to body shaming. I mean, at some point, one of her employees claims that Lizzo pressured her to eat a banana out of someone's genitals. And when you hear body shaming and Lizzo, it just doesn't really make sense, because her entire career has been built off of her being body positive. So how is she making her own employees feel uncomfortable? You guys probably know the story by now that they were in Amsterdam and they went to a show that Lizzo really wanted to go to. She spoke about this for years, and when she went there, she made all of her dancers participate. We've also got a dance coach who pushes Christianity onto the girls and tries to shame them for them living their personal lives or maybe having kids before marriage. And then of course, Lizzo is making comments about some of her dancers gaining weight. Make it make sense. Quote, "The stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seemed to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while she privately weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal, but absolutely demoralizing."
I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to touch that new performer. She started to chant and said, "Hey, Ari, it's your turn to, touch the performer." I shortly left after that, because at that point, it wasn't even worth my job. And the truth is that hurt people, and I don't think that she's a terrible person, but she did terrible things.
And maybe Lizzo is a hurt person, but that never makes it right for someone who's gone through maybe some to project that onto someone else. And with how Lizzo and her team is responding to this, it looks like it's going to be going to court, which could result in a payout to these dancers.
I'm not gonna be able to please everybody with my outward appearance. Someone's always gonna have a critique. Someone's always gonna have some negativity to say about me. So all that matters is what I think about it.
Now, when this all started to come out and the headlines were going off on Lizzo, she didn't respond right away, which I always think of Lizzo as that type of artist who, she would just sit on Instagram and just post a video or go live and speak directly to her fans. Yet she wanted to wait back with her team and calculate a response and hire a shady lawyer at the same time.
People who work in public relations, crisis communication, strategic communication, fixers, there might be some considerations. Legal consideration, information gathering considerations, what our supporters say, what do the not so supportive people say. But in terms of the messaging, that will tell us a lot. Another consideration is timing with the media. There was a Trump indictment in Canada. They're having their own prime minister issues as well. So sometimes a consideration is media and breaking news to push and diminish the impact of stories. So that could be an issue as well. But in case Lizzo does come out before then, I believe that she will be denying it.
Now, if these are false allegations, then there's not only 3 people suing her, but a bunch of other people with a lot of other terrible stories. And you know what? I don't like a false accusation. We definitely need to investigate this and go to trial and see what it's all about, because that's going to be really messy, especially because everything is so personal. But quickly, let's talk about this lawyer, Marty Singer, because I know exactly who he is, because people from his firm, Singer and Levy, have reached out to me and they weren't too friendly. He's actually worked with Jonah Hill, who we made a video about recently, Kim Kardashian, and Chris Brown, who's He's committed some terrible crimes if you have not seen my video before, but it looks like Lizzo has responded through Instagram and it didn't really make anything too much better. Now I'm just gonna pull out specific parts of this post because she's really saying a lot of nothing, just like a lot of words on the page. These sensational stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. Isn't that what they're accusing you of? Sometimes I have to make hard decisions, but it's never my intention to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Or like they aren't valued as an important part of the team. Well, I do think it's really sneaky that Marty and Lizzo decided to release an audition tape from one of these former dancers who I guess made this audition tape after all of these incidents and spoke so highly of Lizzo. They're really trying to discredit these girls. I am not here to be looked at as a victim, but also I know that I am not the villain that people and the media have portrayed me to be these last few days, which I get it, the media can be pretty hard. I am very open with my... and in expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out to something that I am not. There is nothing I take more seriously than respect we deserve as women in the world. So she's really trying to discredit, especially these banana rumors, because those are the headline grabbing like stories. The fact that like these employees were put in that position, and Lizzo always wanted it. That one interview was so creepy.
Very quickly, the 3 things I did not like were the 2 points around womanhood and sexuality. The third also being the length of this thing, believe it or not, despite the fact that I cannot shut the fuck up. I do love brevity. This could have just been one very quick slide. Anyway, the thing I like the most about this is the upfront push against subjectivity. In fact, some of the elements in the accusations against her are existing bad habits that audiences romanticize when other industry figures and artists have them. Her 2 fatal flaws here are 1, not having very strong NDAs. Maybe she does, we'll find out in court. And 2, not having like 6 or 7 layers of goons in between her and the crew.
Now, this will have to go to court for us to really see the details on how bad this was, or to decipher whether these women are taking advantage of Lizzo's fame and her fortune to try to exploit her. But I think back to that documentary maker that started making a documentary with Lizzo, but then backed out because she did not like how Lizzo behaved. Anyways, maybe Lizzo has a chance. This person wrote on Twitter that lawyers are saying that the Lizzo lawsuit is murky at best and is best to wait and see. People in Lizzo's comments are not having it. This person wrote, you know, I know at least 50% of what they're saying is true. Are you responding with a post? This person writes, we want our toxic gossip train on flute apology. So you guys know a Colleen Ballinger reference there. Perez Hilton commented on Lizzo's post. Many people came forward who were not terminated by you and who are not affiliated with the lawsuit. So yeah, that's the straight up fact right there. That it's not just these 3 dancers who are maybe potentially going to earn money from this. It's also other people who are just now chiming in and showing their support and sharing their experiences with Lizzo. Even though Lizzo claims she doesn't want to be the victim, they're going to try to work that narrative. I mean, Lizzo's had a spotless reputation, so this is really bad for her, and I do question whether she's going to be able to recover, or at least if people are going to look at her differently from now on. These 3 former employees actually responded to Lizzo's statement saying that they were reading the statement and they were further disappointed because they were stating facts and she's just completely disregarding it all.
I want to say that reading it just kind of furthered my like disappointment in regards to the situation, just because the facts are the facts. What we experienced and what we witnessed is absolutely what happened. There's nothing sensationalized about it. So all that I can hope is that people focus more so on the facts rather than the court of public opinion.
They also share that it's really disheartening because Lizzo was there. So it's like, I guess it's like a weird place to be when you have someone who's just completely acting like this had never happened when you have these memories, and it seems like some of these memories actually traumatized these girls.
The response from Lizzo was so disheartening because she was there. She was there, and to fix your hand to write on a piece of paper that you that you discredit everything we're saying is incredibly frustrating. The facts are the facts, like Crystal said. Was I pressured to touch a new performer? Yes. Was I brought into a private meeting where I was kind of interrogated about my personal matters and ended up having to share very personal things about myself regarding my weight? Yes. I mean, the list goes on. Were we pressured to do an excruciatingly long rehearsal that turned into a re-audition for the job that we already booked? Because apparently we weren't doing good enough. Yes, that is true. Excruciatingly long re-audition process. Was I under the impression that if I left the stage, I would be fired? Yes. Did I, unfortunately, go to the bathroom on myself on stage because I was so terrified? Yes.
Ms. Davis actually was quoted saying that Lizzo's less of a villain and more of an anti-hero to me. A villain is someone with no redeemable qualities. They're just bad and evil and terrible. But an anti-hero is someone who does bad things but has some redeemable qualities. So saying that Lizzo's not the worst person in the world. She just does some messed up things.
As this was my first professional job, I was told by the dance captain and, just it's this thing in the dance industry that you have to, shut up and, take whatever you get and just be grateful for whatever crumbs you get as a dancer. So a lot of things that were going on, it took me a really long time to figure out that it was wrong. It took me actually until leaving the camp that I figured out that everything that went on was bad, because I just chalked it up to, oh, Lizzo might be a diva, or, this is just the industry. This is what we go through. I mean, I had inklings, like I would be on the phone with my mom all day and be like just complaining about disrespect and the treatment and the humiliation.
Even though there's a lot of hate and talk about Lizzo, she has a huge fan base and her message is still very much apparent. So it's kind of a weird battle between her fans and then the reality of what this is. One dancer was quoted saying that they just want her to be who she was when they first met her. They don't want a tear down campaign. They just want the Lizzo that they thought they were going to be working with. One of them was quoted saying, "We went through a traumatic experience. It's something that happens way too often in the entertainment industry, especially to dancers."
In a court of law, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything, but I know that if you ask someone to tell the truth, these things will come out of her mouth. If you have to say yes or no to these questions, she has to say yes because they are true. There was multiple witnesses, and I don't appreciate the discredit of our feelings and our experiences and our trauma.
We also learned that this didn't just jump to a lawsuit. There were opportunities for them to handle it privately. At least it's what these former employees are saying. There were several attempts to try to handle this privately. I know that the dance cast as a collective attempted to hold meetings not only with Lizzo but with her management to bring up these issues. We tried to handle it in-house, but these people just didn't have time for them, so they didn't have time any longer to wait around. Another one of these former dancers are also now coming out and claiming that Lizzo threatened to hit her when she felt disrespected. That's literally the headline. Lizzo's former dancer alleges the singer threatened to hit her after she expressed feeling disrespected. It was in Canada, and the dancers were called to an impromptu fitting that was revealed to be an ambush meeting where Davis, this dancer, was fired. Lizzo got upset and I told her I felt disrespected. She balled up her fists at me and she said, "You're effing lucky right now. You're so effing lucky right now," as she inched her way towards me to hit me. The singer was restrained by another dancer and yelled "bye B-word" while flipping her off and dragged out of the room. This sounds like they need to do a Zeus network with Lizzo's team. This is giving Baddies West. Yeah, I could see it.
You allege that Lizzo intended to hit you at one point after you resigned. Do you really think that she was going to resort or could resort to physical violence?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, the facts of that were that she actually balled up her fist like this to me. She started cracking her knuckles and she was like, "You're so effing lucky that basically I'm not gonna hit you." I was in shock watching her do that and cracking her knuckles and acting as if she was gonna come at me. And for a second I was like, I don't think she's gonna do that. That's not what's gonna happen. But the fact that one of her dancers, all of us were present, all the dancers were present for mostly all of these allegations. And in that meeting that we had where she got physical and was about to assault me, her best friend, who's also one of the dancers, had to jump out of the couch and physically hold her back from coming and hitting me. So yes, I do believe that if she wasn't held back by that dancer, she would have hit me.
And I think a lot of these girls who are now suing Lizzo, it's more than just trying to get money. It's also just trying to comprehend that this person is evil when they're on stage with you acting brand new. Quote, "It was just too much to take. It's not in my character to go up on stage every night and enable somebody who puts on this facade that she's a grand person and stands up for people. She's body positive and stands for self-love when she's the complete opposite behind doors. Lizzo has failed her own brand and let down her fans. Her denial of this behavior just only adds to the emotional distress. The dismissive comments and utter lack of empathy are quite telling about her character and only serve to minimize the trauma that she has caused the plaintiffs." So Lizzo is in big trouble, and honestly, I don't know how she's gonna get herself out of this one. I want you guys to comment below. What do you think Lizzo should do next? Like, if you were Lizzo, obviously you're not a Lizzo because Lizzo, I guess, isn't a good person anymore, so nobody wants to be like her, even though there is this entire like movement that I feel like she's been leading for so long. So I question what's going to happen to it. Is it just going to fall apart or what? But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye, guys.